What is up, guys? We are back. Welcome back to That's Right, I Said It. My name is Corey. I will be your host today. I really appreciate all the support. Well over 200 subscribers at this point. Channel's growing. Have a lot of returning listeners. And listen, this is the way I do things on this channel. You know, a handshake's good enough for me. It's a free service. It doesn't cost you anything. I work hard making this content. I spend a good 30 minutes on my lunch break every day doing these videos, and I've had tons of people reach out and say, hey, I really appreciate you doing this. It really helps other ones of us out here who are going through similar struggles to not feel alone. So thank you. And I've just gotten a lot of that. And a handshake is good enough. If you've watched one of my videos, the first one's a freebie. But if you come back for a second time, a third time, fourth time, all I ask is just take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button. You don't have to worry about it anymore. But then it helps me out with my analytics and getting another subscriber, right? And so anyway, as you guys know, I've been on a Kratom taper. Well, my second Kratom taper since I first started this channel several months back. And I am down to 5.5 grams that I took yesterday. Definitely feeling some effects, especially at nighttime. And I hate to keep beating the dead horse about my specific story. I know a lot of you know it already, but I'm a new dad. I was already a dad, but my oldest son is, he turned 17 years old yesterday. But I have a new baby who is just barely over 2 months old at home. It's absolutely a complete shock to myself and my wife. You know, I'm a 47-year-old man. I was not expecting to be a father of an infant again. But hey, you know, when God decides, there you go, you have it. So that's the way I look at it. And you know, my wife, this is my second marriage, so it's her first biological child. She didn't think she could have children, so that makes it even somewhat more of a miracle. We are, you know, the advanced paternal age parents. But then in addition to that, my wife had been told multiple times by multiple doctors she wouldn't be able to have children unless she got some really, really serious help with, you know, fertilization treatments and whatnot. Well, obviously that turned out not to be the case because we were not even trying. And I'm not even gonna lie, we're such busy people, we're not even intimate that often. So you can imagine the shock when I find out that myself, as a 47-year-old man, and my wife, who has never thought she could get pregnant, and then a busy couple that probably is only intimate a couple of times a month at best, we were pretty shocked when all of a sudden we realized that my wife was pregnant. And so I let my taper go during that time and just kind of got back on the Kratom full time for a couple of months. Now I'm tapering again. So I just want to say right out of the gate, my night times, they're not horrific. I've definitely been through much worse, you know, and I've discussed before on this channel. I've been through cold turkey withdrawals from Kratom. I've been through cold turkey withdrawals from Percocet, cold turkey withdrawals from Vicodin. So I've been through some intense withdrawals. So a taper method like this, definitely not as bad. And I will say, it seems like once you get below the 10 gram mark, at least for me, 10 grams, 8 grams, 6 grams, once you get down to around that amount, you know, your interdose withdrawals, meaning the times in between when you're dosing, don't seem to be nearly as bad, nearly as severe. So this morning was the first time in probably 2 months or more now that I've completely skipped my morning dose. I did not take a dose of Kratom until about 30 minutes ago, and it's right at about 12:15 right now. So I completely skipped my morning dose. I mean, typically, you know, I have my Kratom with my coffee in the morning, and that's just something I've always done. You know, wake up, take your Kratom, get showered or whatever, give the kratom time to kind of set in and have your body, to start metabolizing it while you're getting ready. By the time I take that first sip of coffee, that caffeine potentiates it, and then I'm like, ooh, feeling nice and ready for the day as I drive to work, right? And so this morning was quite different. Yesterday I only took 2 grams. 1 gram, 2 capsules, because the capsules are 500 milligrams a piece. So 2 capsules equals 1 gram. So yesterday I only took 1 gram in the morning. So there's nowhere to go but up or down from there. So this morning I just completely skipped my morning dose. I did take a couple of the L-tyrosines. If you're looking to taper, whether you're doing a taper or whether you're doing a cold turkey from something like kratom or any other opiate, my guy Ronnie, one of my subscribers, actually suggested the L-tyrosine to me, and it actually works. Works pretty well. You take 1,000 milligrams of that, a couple of capsules in the morning. It does help to helps your body to kind of manufacture dopamine, gives you kind of a little mood boost, a little bit of an energy rush. And let's get real, that's very helpful when you're experiencing some of the withdrawal symptoms of an opiate-like substance, where you have the anhedonia, the kind of, the struggle with your mood being low, and you kind of feel depressed and just like, you've got that whole negative Nathan mentality going on. So, let's get real. Anywhere you can get it, anywhere you can get the mood boost, as long as it doesn't involve taking more kratom or taking more of the opiate that you're trying to come off of, get it where you can. I have jogged both days this week, Monday and Tuesday. I don't always jog on Mondays, and Mondays are usually my days to take off. Well, this week I made sure that I jogged on Monday, because exercise is something that's really important throughout this process. It serves to kind of tire your body out and just give you that, especially when you lay it down at night, it gives you that feeling of, damn, I've done some work, and your body is made of, chemicals firing, electrons and chemicals firing in every which direction, and your body will not fight you as much on things like relaxing and laying down and going to sleep at night if you've put your body through the paces, and if you sit around and you're sedentary and you're not releasing, creating any endorphins, and you're not releasing any tension or anxiety via exercise, then it's going to be more of a struggle for you to lay down and relax, and for your body to relax at night and things like that. So I've made sure that I've exercised a couple of days this week. I did take kava last night. Kava root is really good for just kind of helping you sleep at night, helping you completely relax, and it does help somewhat with the withdrawals as well as things like vitamin C. A lot of people swear by vitamin C. I also took a magnesium supplement last night before I went to bed called Calm. And again, all of this helps. Did it completely take away any sort of withdrawals that I'm experiencing? No, it did not. And from my experience, especially if you're doing an aggressive taper, kind of like I've been doing, if you're doing that, then, you're going to have to suffer a little bit. You're going to have to, go through some periods where it's a little uncomfortable and stuff, because if you're not, then you're not really tapering. If you're not uncomfortable, you really are not lowering your dose enough to really get it done in a decent amount of time. And I've talked about on here that it's easier to hang off of a cliff for, 3 weeks than it is to hang off of a cliff for 3 months, right? And a lot of people who are taking very large amounts of this stuff, they'll lower their dose about a 0.5 gram or whatever every 3 or 4 days. Give their body 3 or 4 days to adjust to that, and then they'll lower it another half gram. Give their body 3 or 4 days to adjust to that, and then lower it another half gram. I mean, if you were taking 30 grams per day, that's going to take you a long time to do that. And that's a long time, a lot of weeks, months, hours, days, minutes, to always make the right decision and remain focused on that taper. And I've talked about this before a lot of times too. You know, if you make a couple of bad choices, you kind of tend to get down on yourself. And it's a tale as old as time, as addicts do. One bad choice can lead to another one, and then lead to another one. And then by this point, you're just feeling down. You're like, I can't do this shit. I just can't do. Look at me. I've already made 3 bad choices this week. Shit, I can't do this taper. I might as well just start taking and start using full time again. And people do it all the time. I've done it, you know, and it again is a tale as old as time for substance abusers. And if that were not true, then there wouldn't be any such thing as substance abusers and drug addicts, right? Because we would always moderate our use, now wouldn't we? But we don't always moderate our use as drug addicts, which is the reason we are drug abusers, drug addicts, because we make the poor decisions to take more than we should, more often than we should, and for longer than we should. You know, it's common sense, right? Common sense. But, you know, also too, you know, for me, the situation's a little different, because even if I wasn't experiencing some withdrawals, I'm having trouble getting uninterrupted sleep anyway, because I have a 2-month-old in the room with me. You know, when they're that age and they're completely 1000% dependent upon you for everything, including diaper changes, you have to feed them every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. And my son lets me know if literally every time he wakes up during the night, he wants to eat. He's ready to eat. You know, it's the way that God made infants. And you know, they have to eat every 2 hours. So we're waking up, we're falling out, maybe passing out about 10 o'clock just from being exhausted. Well, we're up by 12, you know, up for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, feeding, maybe doze back off about 1:30, up again at 3:30, you know, doze back off for an hour or two, we're up again at 5. I mean, it's a constant, you know. Even if I wasn't going through taper withdrawals, you know, a full night's sleep would be pretty much impossible for me to come by anyway. That's why when I have people jump on and jump in the comments and be like, hey dude, just go hard with it, just go ahead and do a cold turkey, don't you want to just get it over with? I'm like, bruh, you don't understand. You know, you're in a different place in your life than I am. I'm a 47-year-old man pushing 50, you know, with 2 kids and a 2-month-old staying in the room with me at night. Like, no, I don't want to do a cold turkey. I know what cold turkey feels like. And the last time I did a cold turkey, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I'm already having trouble sleeping because I have an infant in the room with me, right? So I don't need to add a cold turkey withdrawal into the mix. Bro, I'd never sleep. You know, I'd fall asleep driving to work, you know, if I did that to myself. But you know, I am being pretty hardcore about the way I'm pushing my taper this time. So today I'll be slated to take, I've only had 2 grams of Kratom today, and it's, you know, going on 1 o'clock. Before the day is said and done, I will take 5 grams of Kratom. I say that with kind of an iffy sort of connotation in my voice, because I always say I'm going to take, like yesterday, I was supposed to take 6, technically. Well, I didn't. I took 5.5. You know, I skipped that very last capsule. And I may end up doing the same thing this evening. I don't know. But at the least, I will be down to 5 grams of Kratom today. Okay, and yeah, as far as the withdrawals at night, I have been having some withdrawals, you know, specifically like the kind of discomfort in the chest. Restless legs, not not too bad, not too much of the restless legs, but just the general like discomfort in the chest area. Like you just can't, it's a central nervous system thing, where your body just doesn't want to let you relax. No matter how tired you might be, like you always consistently just have that feeling of like, oh, I gotta move. Oh, I gotta move. Oh, I gotta move. Oh, I gotta move. That's one of the worst things about experiencing withdrawal symptoms. I liken it to being extremely tired and not having slept for 2 or 3 days, and then laying down, falling asleep, and having someone stand over you, and the second they notice you falling asleep, they, hey, wake up. You doze off, give you 2 or 3 minutes, you start to doze off again. Hey, wake up, tap you on the forehead. Wake up. 2 minutes later, your eyes finally shut, and you're, hey, wake up. It's that sort of thing. It's just not a good feeling in general, but it's getting better. My daytimes are starting to level out some. I have noticed that. When I'm on higher amounts, and certainly when I did a cold turkey, I noticed really severe, like the chicken skin, where you're getting the goosebumps, and then you're hot and cold. You have trouble maintaining your, body temperature correctly. The loose bowels, the really bad low mood, depression, and anhedonia and stuff. That has not been as bad, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm tapering and I didn't do a cold turkey, because I noticed this morning, I noticed a couple of times, kind of like, oh, I feel a little cold or something, but and I shouldn't be, because the temperature's normal in here. And I did have a little period of time where I'm like, yeah, my nose is kind of running a little bit, just little stuff like that, but it's definitely not been in anything too severe. And I think, once you get down to under 10 grams, 8 grams, 6 grams, once you get down to these lower amounts like this, the intradose withdrawals seem to be, much less. And, I would say, by the end of next week, I'm hoping to go ahead and just make the jump, to be honest with you, and be completely off of the Kratom. I'll probably try to plan it out to where keep chopping it down this week, keep chopping it down this week, keep chopping it down next week, and I'm going to try to plan it to where next weekend, over the weekend, like by example Saturday or Sunday, I can go ahead and just make the jump. That way, if I have a little trouble Saturday and Sunday night and I'm not sleeping that well and I'm having a little bit of withdrawals and stuff like that, I don't have to get up and go to work the next day and be a responsible adult. You know what I mean? So, I want to talk about a couple of things today. Well, first, what I'm going to do is read a couple of comments that I didn't get a chance to read yesterday. This one's by Kyle Johns, 8139. He says, also, you can get some gabapentin and Valium for 1 to 2 weeks to make the withdrawals much easier. And I have heard this, and, if you're a person that makes regular doctor visits and you're one of those people that has no problem with calling up your doctor, and you can get off of work and go to a doctor's appointment, stuff like that, and your doctor knows you and knows your history, especially with substance abuse, or what you take, or that if you've taken Kratom or whatever, something like that, I would say is a good move, as long as you remain careful, because you don't want to come off a Kratom and then get addicted to something like Valium, and also too, it's worth noting, it's notable to mention that Kava, which is what I've been taking about every night, actually is known to act on the same receptors as gabapentin. It acts on the GABA receptors in the brain. Well, gabapentin, obviously, same thing. It acts on the GABA receptors. And like Valium and Xanax and all those, those benzos, although, no one would really argue that Kava is as strong unless maybe you take it in like a really, really, really high dose, which I don't recommend because it's bad for your liver, and I don't. I take it like in a moderate amount, what it recommends. And you know, I've been kind of sipping on it kind of a couple of times a day right now. Typically I don't do that, but because I'm decreasing my kratom so much, you know, it kind of helps a little bit with the anxiety and depression and kind of the low mood a little bit. It helps a little bit with that. So I have been taking a little bit more than I normally would of it. Normally kava's just a nighttime sort of wind down, relaxation sort of experience for me. But yeah, no, I agree. You know, as long as you're careful about not going and getting, you know, putting down the kratom and then getting addicted to some Valium. But he does say here for 1 to 2 weeks, which I'm sure that's why he mentioned just doing it for 1 to 2 weeks. You know, so that you can kind of use it for the worst part of your acute withdrawals and then just leave it, right? So that was a good comment, Kyle. Seeking Freedom says, don't let anyone tell you that vitamin C sodium ascorbate. Is that how you say that? Ascorbate? I'm going to ascorbate. Does not help alleviate withdrawals. It definitely does. Not that I've withdrawn from kratom, but it helps with other opiates, I promise. But you have to take 6,000 milligrams all at once. I would save the vitamin C for when you jump off. Too many people take too little vitamin C and then say it doesn't help them. Seeking Freedom, thank you, bro. Great comment. And, you know, I've heard this one. I mean, that drum has been beaten a lot on here, so there must be some merit to the whole vitamin C thing, because I've heard that tons of times, people recommending it, how vitamin C, especially in large amounts, really does help a lot with withdrawals. I personally have not tried it myself. That's something I'm probably gonna try when I go ahead and jump completely off. I'm probably gonna plan on having some sort of vitamin C supplement with me to give that a shot, because there must be some merit to that, as many people that have mentioned it on here. This is the guy that told me, hey man, why don't you just go cold turkey, Jet Up 24. What's up, dude? He's like, hey man, I understand tapering, but don't you just want to be done with it? Rip the band-aid off and get off it? Listen to Goggins while withdrawing. Stay hard. Oh, that's a good one. I feel like he's fucking with me because I like Goggins. I love David Goggins. I've mentioned Goggins on this channel before, and I can't remember if Jet Up 24, if he's one of the guys that I've talked to about it. Were you the guy that I talked to about Goggins? I talked to somebody on the channel one time, like a while back when I first started the channel. We were talking about David Goggins and how much I loved him, and I'll listen to him sometimes speak and like his motivational speeches and stuff like that. Whenever I'm jogging, I'll listen to him on Joe Rogan talking. He's just very inspiring individual, you know, his backstory and how he grew up and then became to be known as one of the hardest men in the world, and is Navy SEAL, and did these ultra marathon 100-mile races, you know, back-to-back weekends in a row. Just a sick, twisted individual in terms of his toughness. I mean, you're probably not wrong, and I probably could, but it's just not something I'm interested in right now, man. But I do stay grinding, I promise. Like I said, I jog every evening, and I'm not talking about 1 mile. You know, I'm jogging 3, 5, 6 miles sometimes. You know, I do work a full-time job, and I'm a parent, you know, to 2 children, and I'm a husband. So I can't, you know, I kind of have to moderate my time and make sure that I'm fulfilling all the other duties around me. So if I were at a different point in my life, I would definitely say cold turkey is the way to go. And I've been at points in my life where I did choose the cold turkey route, and I agree, it is quicker. You know, it sucks, it hurts worse for a short period of time, but you know, 7 to 10 days, you know, 11 to 14 days tops, you're kind of out of the woods, and you're kind of starting to be on the mend at that point. But the sleep thing, man, you know, that's just one of those things where I can't do that right now. You know, I've got a baby at home. I'm already barely sleeping, with that infant in the room with me. And I know it would just make that much worse if I were laying there when the baby actually is sleeping. If I'm laying there tossing and turning and rolling and tossing and turning. I mean, I'm already doing a little bit of that with this heavy taper, this aggressive taper that I'm doing. I haven't been sleeping very well as a result of it. Cold turkey would be much worse. And I'm one of those people that when I go through a straight cold turkey like that, man, I don't sleep for a couple of weeks sometimes. You know, granted, that was coming off a pretty high amount, and I'm guessing at this point, being on 5 or 6 grams per day, I probably would, you know, get back to ground zero or baseline a little quicker, perhaps. So maybe that's not completely accurate, that I wouldn't sleep for 2 weeks. But either way, man, I appreciate the comment. And hey, you know, keep it coming. I love when people, you know, hey dude, you know, man up. You know, I love when people kind of do a sack check, like, because sometimes you need that. You know, sometimes people need that. Like, hey man, sack up. You know, you got yourself into it. Oh, it's gonna hurt. Don't try to get out unscathed. Just accept it. It's gonna suck. Sack up, deal with it, and get the shit out of the way and get it over with. And I don't think that that's wrong. I don't think that that's a wrong way to think about these things, depending on who you are, you know. But again, we talk about, you have to take all of the pros and you have to weigh them against the cons. And a lot of the cons have to do with who you are as a person, what kind of responsibilities you have in your life. What is your job like? What is your work life like? What is your work-life balance like? What is your family life balance like? Are you still living at home with your parents? If you're still living at home with your parents and working a part-time job, then shit, yeah, cold turkey's the move, bro. You know, but some people just aren't in a situation where that's going to be the best move for them, and that's where I'm at. But anyway, thanks for the comment, my dude. I want to read Dylan Frink 371 says, I've been watching your videos for a while, and when you were doing the MIT 45s, it got me to start a taper. I was at 50 grams a day, and now a couple of months later, I'm down to 4 grams at night. Your videos have really helped me. Thanks, man. Bro, I just want to take a second and just, that's freaking impressive. And I noticed, you know, another guy, I think it was Ronnie, there's another guy that commented on his comments, like, that's impressive. That's absolutely impressive. You're killing it. You know, 50 grams daily is a pretty substantial amount. So I'm just going to read my comment back and then what he said as well. This is me. I said, damn, bro, that's an astronomical improvement. That's amazing, man, knowing that my videos have helped someone achieve this sort of success. It is super humbling. It inspires me to keep going with my own taper and with the channel. Thanks for your message, Dylan. It's much, much appreciated, my friend. Has it been tough? I'm sure I know the answer. And Dylan responded, it's been tough. The hardest part was getting rid of the morning dose because I would wake up in withdrawal. And I have back pain, so I don't think I'll ever just stop completely. But now that I just have a dose at night to sleep to help with the pain, I haven't really had any withdrawal. And see, that's the thing. You know, you have to get under that tipping point with Kratom, because we talked about that tipping point on this channel a lot. If you cross over that tipping point where you're taking, you know, and that tipping point is different for different people. It might be 3, 4, 5 grams for some people. And for a lot of people out there, I would say the majority of people out there, if you're only taking 3, 4, maybe 5 grams of Kratom per day, once a day, in the evening, that sort of thing. If you get into that sort of routine, you can get to a point where you don't really have interdose withdrawals. You don't wake up the next day feeling like shit, like, oh, I need to take some Kratom. Oh, give me some Kratom. Oh, just go ahead and shoot it right in my vein. Tie me off. You know, you don't get that. You do get that with a very large amount. If you're over that tipping point and you're one of those people who's taking 15, 20, heaven forbid, 30, 40, 50 grams per day, you are absolutely going to be in a situation where when you wake up that next morning, your body is going to be screaming at you to take Kratom. It absolutely is. And it's interesting because when I first started taking Kratom about 4 years ago, just like many other people, I kind of started slow, you know. And at first, because I first found it when I was on vacation in the mountains in Asheville, North Carolina. And I still remember we went to this head shop. I looked it up. I saw Kratom in the window of this head shop because my wife wanted to get a vape while we were there. Neither one of us smoked. We used to smoke cigarettes. We quit smoking cigarettes, but we went on our vacation. We're like, oh, what can we do that's fun? We were going to smoke a little weed, you know. We brought some with us. We're going to have a few drinks. And my wife, since we don't smoke cigarettes anymore, well, look, you know, let's go out on a limb. Let's get a vape, you know. So we're out on the trails hiking. We can hit the vape, whatever. We go to this head shop. I see Kratom in the window. And, of course, I look it up. I'm like, what's Kratom? You know, and I look it up, and opiate replacement. And I see how people are using it to get off of opiates, and it has an opiate-like effect. And of course, for somebody like me who fought a Vicodin and Percocet addiction in my 20s and 30s, was like, huh? What? You know, my ears perked up immediately. So I got it, and I kind of started taking it. I knew immediately it was going to be a slippery slope for me, but nonetheless, at first, I wasn't taking that much. You know, I remember at first I was taking a total of maybe 4 capsules per day. I would go the whole day at work not taking anything like Kratom, and then in the evenings I would take 4 capsules, get a little bit of a buzz from it, whatever. And I remember during that period of time when I was taking that on a consistent basis, I don't remember having any withdrawals. I don't remember having any intradose withdrawals. I don't remember, you know, feeling like any time that I didn't have Kratom in my system that I just felt shitty. You know, I don't remember feeling that way. It's because I had not, you know, crossed over that tipping point. And that's kind of what Dylan is talking about here. But he made a last comment saying there was also a lot of sleepless nights. I bet so, man. You know, coming down from 50 grams down to 4 grams per day in 2 months. I mean, I can imagine there were multiple sleepless nights. But hey, dude, you're doing it. You're killing it. I'm really proud of you for that. And you know, it makes me feel, you know, it's super humbling to know that you're crediting my videos for you being able to achieve this. That's just awesome, dude. And that's one of the main reasons that I started this channel, you know. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about finances. You're like, wait a minute, dude. This channel's about Kratom withdrawal, or opiate withdrawal. What the fuck does finances have to do with it? Come on now. If you've ever had any issue with abusing opiates or Kratom or anything else, you already know it's done hit your pocketbook. And for anybody who's not an abuser of these things, you know, they'd be like, what do you mean? You know, because if you abuse stuff, there are ways that it hits your finances in negative ways. And I'm going to talk about some of those things tomorrow on my video. So anyway, I got to get out of here. Love you guys. Appreciate you tuning back into the channel. And hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you've not. Leave a comment down below. Let me know where you're at so people can jump on and support you and, you know, give you ideas and advice on, you know, how you can progress to the next phase of where you're wanting to go with your use, whether it be Kratom or other opiates. All right, guys. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Peace.